In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to repair a crack-sealed window unit, similar to this one. Let me first describe the parts of this window that I'm working with. The frame of the window is made out of untreated pine. The glass is a sealed double pane unit, which is held in place by the wood trim. I took the window frame with the broken glass unit to a glass supplier to ensure exact glass measurements. But before I did that, I removed the original wood glazing bead to enable easy access to the sealed unit. To accomplish this, I used a box cutter to carefully break the seal between the glass trim and the frame on the top, the bottom, and the sides of the window. Then I used a paint scraper and a hammer to pry off the trim. Sometimes this is difficult to do without splitting the wood, but no worries, in my case, I had planned to replace the trim using pressure-treated wood. If you continue watching, I promise to show you how I made the new trim pieces using my table saw. I removed the lingering nails using my compound pliers, which by the way is one of my favorite tools. As an added safety measure, before moving and transporting the window to the glass supplier, I put tape on all the cracks in the glass to keep it from falling out or shifting and potentially causing injury. To make the replacement trim, I used the miter saw to rough cut the pressure-treated pine to length. Guess it would help if I plugged it in. Next, I used the table saw to rip the width and the depth of the trim down to size. I always find it more accurate if I use a piece of the original trim as a template for setting the saw guide. This way I can ensure that my replacement trim is consistent with the original. I first focused on the width of the trim. Using my original as a template, I set the guide and then ripped the wood through until I had 4 pieces. Safety tip: when working with narrow pieces on a table saw, I always use a push stick or a push block. I don't want to lose any phalanges. Next, I unplugged the saw and reset the guide to the desired depth, again using my original as a template. As you can see, I'm working very closely to the blade, which is why it is important to unplug the saw every time you reset the guide. The depth setting for the trim is really narrow, only 1/4 of an inch, so this is where the push block came in handy. Same as before, like an assembly line, I ran the same 4 pieces through to ensure a consistent depth measurement. I took my time doing this. Working with these narrow strips on a table saw can be a little intimidating. Final step in making the trim is to cut the ends at a 45-degree angle using the miter saw. Again, using the original piece as a template, I transferred the exact angle and length to use as a guide. This allows a quick visual to ensure that the angle and the length is accurate. Great news, when I went to pick up the window, the glass supplier already secured the new glass in my frame for me, which saved me an extra step. I really like this glass supplier. He validated for me that he securely fastened the glass unit from the interior side and suggested that I use waterproof silicone adhesive rather than finishing nails to secure the new trim in place. This was a great suggestion since using the finishing nails, I could potentially break the glass, which, let's be honest, that would be very counterproductive. As you can see in this step, I carefully added a bead of waterproof silicone along the perimeter of the frame and then placed all 4 new trim pieces into position, making sure there was a flush join in each corner. Then I added another bead of silicone where the trim meets the frame to fill in any gaps that would allow water or moisture to seep in. Applying the extra bead of silicone along with using pressure-treated wood for the trim should guarantee prevention of water damage and any risk of future wood rot. And as a finishing touch, I smooth out any clumps in the silicone with a damp cloth to create a nice finished look. Finally, I let the silicone dry for 24 hours and applied 2 coats of exterior paint. Thank you for watching. Hope you join me on my next 2 projects where I replace my French patio doors and extend a mini retaining wall. Hope to see you next time.